Welcome to the I Hate Critics movie review podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Hey, it's great out here. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. Nothing's happening. You know, it's a very quiet time in our universe, and
Newsweek, all that. Yeah.
of course, yes. I said this, and you'll hear this when you hear the 96. We're fully aware of what's going on, and we're not in Minnesota, even though all of our movies are set in Minnesota for some reason. But we are aware, and we're thinking of the folks in Minnesota every single day, and wanting that situation to come to an end. It's ugly, it's wrong, it's disgusting, and everyone in this administration should be ashamed of themselves. And if they felt shame ever, but if they were capable of shame, they should be feeling it right now. But we're thinking about that. This is a movie laughter kind of podcast. We don't tend to be too serious, and I don't want anybody thinking we're not thinking of that. So there's that right off the top.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be headed to Minnesota for our classic, unintentionally.
Yes,
It just keeps happening that way. But let's talk about other topics. Did we talk about the Academy Awards last week?
No, because they hadn't been released yet.
That's right. They were released on Thursday. Nothing really stood out for me. Maybe Jesse Plemons not getting a nomination might have been like the one thing that I guess stood out. I knew Tom Hiddleston had no chance. I knew Life of Chuck had no chance. So I was never thinking about that. What I was thinking about, though, is the concept that we talk about just about every year, which is the most acting. And I think as good as Timothée Chalamet is, his performance in Marty Supreme is another great example of Hollywood honoring the most acting, where you can, it's as if they're afraid that to the average everyman won't see the amount of work that goes into a performance, and so they got to pick the performance that reminds people of a performance. And I'm so tired of watching this happen, just day after day after day, or year after year after year, where they just continue to be so insecure about their own business that they can't allow a subtle performance to come through. It has to be something where everybody can see the visceral effort. Like he played ping pong for years to become this good. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good for him. He learned how to play ping pong. The character is also super obnoxious and not fun to be around, is my opinion. But hey, whatever. Fine. He was always going to get an Oscar nomination. That's fine. I don't like that movie, but I'm the only one who doesn't like that movie. Well, aside from you, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
you had a similar reaction to me.
I didn't care all that much about it, honestly.
But it was great to see Sinners get 14 nominations, just blowing past the record of all-time nominations. That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Totally deserved it. I mean, this was actually a year that we finally got some horror movies nominated for stuff. Sinners. We got Amy Madigan for Weapons. Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. Frankenstein was also nominated.
And he was very good in that. He was very, very good.
I was very surprised. And the fact that Sinners has 14 nominations, but Michael B. Jordan should win twice because he played two completely distinct characters.
Yeah, I saw that joke on social media a few times that one brother had been nominated and the other one wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Which one was it? Which one got the nomination?
I know, right? I'm glad to see that Delroy Lindo got nominated for that as well.
That was a surprise. Yeah, because he wasn't really in much of the talk going into the season that he was going to be among the contenders, and to see him get in there was great. And I've been watching the Best Supporting Actress race for some time, and getting worried about Wunmi Misako not winning anything because she wasn't getting wins leading up to this, and there she is. She got nominated. I hope that's not the end of it there, because again, in classic Academy fashion, the person who is the unlikely nominee, their reward is just being nominated. Oftentimes, I'm recalling what was it? Oh God, Julie Walters for Best Actress back in the day for Educating Rita got nominated, and her prize was being nominated because she was always going to lose. Like these narratives, which tend to take hold during the Academy Awards season, are frustrating. I think it's part of the frustration that so many real movie fans have, is that the Academy Awards have become, or maybe they've always been, just more for the average fan, like the celebrity fan, the people who like movies but don't love movies.
Mm-hmm. I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and I said that I was pissed that Jesse Plemons didn't get nominated because Bugonia was so good, and I mean you could almost smell him on the screen. I mean, that's how good he was, you know. And they're like, "Oh, who would you trade, Michael B. Jordan?" And I was like, "No, I would literally trade Timothée Chalamet or Leonardo DiCaprio, like 100%." And they were like, "Oh, that was fast." I'm like, "Yeah, Timothée Chalamet was doing the most acting, and Leonardo DiCaprio was kind of phoning it in to me." And I said that, you know, contemporaneously when the movies came out, and I don't think either one of them would, you know, necessarily deserve one, but I think Jesse Plemons deserved a nomination way more
There is,
than either one.
again, and I really do. It comes off kind of like I don't like One Battle After. I love One Battle After Another. I think it's a great movie, but I do see what you're talking about with DiCaprio's performance. It feels very DiCaprio. It feels very comfortable. It feels very much in his wheelhouse and kind of unsurprising, which part of that is, he's very good and maybe he's just making this look easy. But another part of that is he's not really evolving and giving us new layers of himself as an actor.
I mean, I think he deserved it for The Revenant. That was not something I would think of him for. But this is like, it's kind of a, it's maybe one street over from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Or Don't Look Up.
Or Don't Look Up. Yeah, I mean, it's like he's always in the same neighborhood acting wise. Whether it's
whereas Jesse Plemons, you never know what he's going to do next. I mean, when you move from Civil War to Bugonia and those two characters, I mean, it's like that is chameleonic stuff. And again, you could argue that maybe some of Bugonia is the most acting, but at the same time, it's such a necessary part of the movie that it doesn't take away anything. His performance ends up coming off as effortless because it fits so perfectly into the universe of the movie, whereas Timothée Chalamet's effort just looks like effort to me.
Oh, completely. I mean, Timothée Chalamet, he's a good actor. I just don't think that everything he does deserves an award nomination. Yeah. And I think they just like him because he's pretty. I think that's a lot of it is like he looks like a movie star, kind of. But
is this like maybe they're trying to make up for not nominating the young Leo DiCaprio, and so they're going with the new young DiCaprio? I mean, it fits the narrative because, like, here you got this good-looking, scrawny kid who all the little girls scream over. And that's what DiCaprio was. They made him earn it, whereas like we're not going to wait on Chalamet. Let's just give him everything now.
Like Timothée Chalamet also allegedly was the source of a chlamydia outbreak at the NYU campus. I don't know if you've ever heard that rumor.
I've never heard that. But he is dating a Kardashian now, so I guess that makes sense.
God. Yeah, Jesse Plemons, he never misses. He was so good in Bugonia. He was so good on Fargo. Have you seen that show? It's really good kind of anthology show, and he was really good in that. He's just a Civil War. I mean, he just plays, he plays somebody different every single time. Yeah. Whereas Timothée Chalamet always kind of seems like he's playing, like he's got that kind of sparkle behind his eyes. And I personally think since uh Call Me by Your Name, he's kind of played the same character over and he's kind of like
Mhm.
skating by. But what do
Another
I
great
know?
example at Plemons is Kinds of Kindness. I mean, there's three
Hmm.
different distinct performances in one movie.
Yeah.
Much like Michael B. Jordan delivers two distinct performances in one movie in Sinners, he did that three times in Kinds of Kindness, and it just goes to show just how great actors can, apply talent without having to overwhelm the movie with that talent.
Hmm.
I always my go-to example on this is Dustin Hoffman. Like I cannot stand watching Dustin Hoffman in a movie because I see every inch of him performing, and I find it impossible to catch the. I find it impossible to see the person beneath the performance, and it
Yeah.
takes me out of just about every movie he's ever made because of his actorly efforts that are going on.
Hmm.
And then it's such a pattern with the Academy. Like when you look at like as great as Daniel Day Lewis is, like you can see him sweating and bleeding and breaking his own limbs in My Left Foot, or the overpronounced Americanism of Lincoln. Like
Hmm.
uh, he's even There Will Be Blood. He's good in all of those, and I would not replace those performances in any way. But they're also very performative, and
Yeah.
they're stagey. My favorite example is always Fences. If you watch Fences with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, you're going to understand what the most acting is versus the best acting, because Denzel sees this as a tribute to August Wilson's stage play, and so he's playing it from the stage,
Yeah.
bellowing out every line and underlining every emotion. And then there's Viola Davis, who's in a movie.
Yeah. She's looking at him like, please, just stop.
It's a very obvious thing. It's a very obvious difference between the two things, and I think for me, just the quieter performance works better in a movie. Not
Hmm.
that the most acting can work, like Jack Nicholson in The Departed is the most acting, but again, that
Yeah.
performance needs the most acting. Harvey Milk, Sean Penn as Harvey Milk,
Hmm.
is a big performance, very obvious performance, but it needs that because that's what's building you towards the grand operatic tragedy of the ending. Makes sense. The most acting, but still the best acting going on while they're doing it. But some actors are just giving you everything, so you know just how hard they're working, as if they just don't think that people will understand how hard acting is if I don't bleed and sweat everywhere.
Yeah. And I don't even like him, and I totally forgot that the movie F1 was a movie that we watched this year until it got nominated. I completely forgot about it when I was going through, we did our best of the year. I kind of went through all the movies and just didn't even create a blip on my radar that that was a movie that I saw. And I know that, a lot of people liked it, and fine, that's great. It just was not my thing. But I thought Brad Pitt gave a better performance, like a little more understated, cocky but understated,
Uh-huh.
than like Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme, because
Like yeah.
it wasn't made for, like, to be nominated. That wasn't something that was done to be nominated. It was done for the story. And Marty Supreme, Timothy Chalamet is trying to get a nomination. So
I'm
yeah,
wondering if that's starting to bleed through, like even the Dune movies. Like it's starting to bleed through where you see Timothy Chalamet and you can kind of sense the effort going on as opposed to the
yeah.
performance is not sinking into the performance. Like what was that the cannibal vampire movie he was in or whatever it was? I
Oh,
can't.
Bones and All.
That movie was terrible and incredibly obvious overacted.
Yeah, I'd like to see him take a couple years off and just like regroup, maybe go to some acting classes and learn the art of acting for film again. Because I think he's just like you said, he's doing what Denzel did, and that was reaching for the cheap seats. And I'm kind of over it. Um, but you get people like Ethan Hawke. I haven't seen Blue Moon yet. I would like to. But he's always good in stuff that he believes in, I think.
He's terrific in that movie, but at the same time, again, it's another one of those big performances because he's short. He's much taller than Lawrence Hart, and he's he's trying to he's like acting on his knees almost throughout most of the movie, and you can
Okay.
just see the level. He's also putting on an accent. Like there's a lot of work in this one.
Mm,
In so many of his other performances, it's Ethan Hawke losing himself, and he doesn't really lose himself in this one. It's good though. It does work
yeah.
because Hart is another big personality that you need to build, but at the same time all those things, all that physical effort just feels like, again, performative.
As far as supporting goes, I feel like this always happens. Like I think Benicio del Toro and Sean Penn will probably cancel each other out
Mhm.
because you don't want to split for a movie, and then that's happened a couple times this year. Um, Jacob Elordi, while he's really good in Frankenstein, I don't think he has any sort of chance. I think it'll be between Delroy Lindo and Stellan Skarsgård, and I have not seen Sentimental Value yet, though. Just
Mhm.
we'll talk about that next week. But
That's a
uh,
that's another one of those. There's like a oh man, that's fun because like his performance is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to subtlety, when it comes to
mhm,
building a character in a way where you melt into the performance. Like he is incredible in that movie, and that probably means he's not going to win.
yeah,
Whereas, nothing against Jacob Elordi, I liked what he did, but that's a very big physical performance, lots of makeup, grunting,
mhm,
physicality. Like it's the sweat equity, I think, gives him the edge because there are so many insecure people in Hollywood who don't think their job is a job.
yeah. I'm also I'm super 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 happy that Kate Hudson got a nomination for Song Sung Blue.
That was crazy. No one. It seemed like nobody thought that was going to happen.
Well, so I tried to explain it to somebody. I said, okay, yeah, it doesn't seem like the movie or a role that would get somebody a nomination, but she was amazing in it. She carried the movie completely from start to finish, and the Academy loves those kind of movies. Those like I'm a plucky under, we're the plucky underdogs, and they die for that kind of stuff. So it was
Yeah,
not
I get,
really
and you
that
got the
much of a
accent and the
surprise.
hair and the costumes. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a surprise that she would. I mean, it was a surprise that she got it, but on reflection, it's not a surprise because yeah, that's the kind of performance that they really love. I mean, Jesse Buckley is going to win it, obviously, uh, and
I
should.
hope so. Although,
I have not
there's
seen it.
also Rose Byrne. So
Yeah, I have not seen that movie yet. I'm going to watch it this week, and we could talk about it next week. But I've heard really good things about it. Um, and Emma Stone was great in Begonia, but she was
he already
parts
won,
of
and that's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the Meryl Streep curse. When you've already won, well, they already got one, so I don't need to worry
Mhm.
about this.
Would love to see Jesse Buckley win, and maybe Rose Byrne and Kate Hudson. But I, as of right now, what I've seen, I would say give it to Jesse Buckley because Hamnet was incredible, and that the last scene, especially, just her figuring it all out and falling in love with her son all over again from beyond the grave was
This
so good.
deeply physical presence in a character and just totally not never coming out of that character. She's so deeply immersed and
Mhm.
human and beautiful that it's almost a wonder that anybody voted for her.
Yeah.
Not all of
Again,
Hollywood goes for the most thing, but I'm saying they do it
yeah.
more often than not.
And again, I have not seen Sentimental Value, so I don't know about as far as like supporting actress, but um, I, Amy Madigan or Wunmi Mosaku or Tiana Taylor all could get it, and I would be perfectly fine with it. I have a special spot in my heart for Aunt Gladys because she's a queer icon, so I would love to see that. I'd love to see her, when she was nominated 40 years ago this year. So, but you know, Teyana Taylor was really good, and she was actually probably my favorite part of One Battle After Another. And Wumi Masako was the heart of Sinners. So,
yeah.
you know, as far as animated feature film, it doesn't matter because they just give them to. There's like 5 a year that come out, and they give them to all 5 of them. So,
yeah, it doesn't really stand out, does it? Well, we'll wrap this up, but I just hope that Sinners wins. That's really what I want, is for Sinners to just come away winning the Academy Award.
Yeah, and I want Ryan Coogler to win for direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be
so
great
good
too.
So good.
And give it to Michael B. Jordan. I mean, that performance is it's got your hard work that you want in the Academy, and because he's doing 2 performances at once.
Exactly.
I don't feel like he's doing the most acting. I just think he's got 2 characters in the same movie.
Yeah. Doing double the job.
Like, again, I keep talking about the most acting as if that's a bad thing. It's, again, not always a bad thing.
Again, it depends on the role and depends on the movie. And I mean, sometimes it works, and it did not work for me for Timothy Chalamet. Sorry, Timmy.
Sorry, Timothy Stans. We apologize. Please don't leave. Subscribe to our Patreon. We'll change our opinion on Timothy Chalamet.
Yes. We'll do a whole Timothy Chalamet retrospective if we get 10 more patrons on Patreon.
You know, though, Marty Supreme wasn't that bad. I'm kidding. I would never do that.
I loved Marty Supreme. It was so good.
Jeff, on the other hand, has no integrity, so it'll be great.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say whatever you want. I am a whore.
Speaking of whores, how about Chris Pratt?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, speaking of whores, we're not doing Melania.
Already.
I did boo the trailer again the other day.
That's good.
And
I like to give it a really good middle finger when I see it.
I did that too. Then I was in line for a refill on my soda on the way out, and our Cinemark sells tickets at the concession stand now. And there was a lady in front of me, and she was, you know, she had to wait because this lady was ordering 2 garbage bags full of popcorn, and she was like tapping her toes and feeling a lot. And she ordered 12 tickets to Melania for Friday. And I think that's the most tickets so Friday, I think, is the most tickets that it's sold, because I looked and it's like maybe 2 people per screening on average. But I was having a talk. I was kind of talking to her, and she told me she was going to order tickets for Melania. I'm like, oh, I wondered who was going to go see that. You know, it's like the story. I said, what did I say? How did I put it? I said, like, hooker makes good. And then she was not happy about that. But then I looked at the showing that she bought them for, and there was only 5 tickets sold, so she must have returned some.
The 12 friends she thought were going, we were like, what the fuck? We're not going to that.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? She did say, I said, oh, you know, that maybe it's going to sell out. She goes, well, you know, it's not doing that great at the box office. I've read about it on Facebook, so we're trying to make sure that it makes a #1 movie this week. And I was like, oh, sweetie, absolutely fucking not. So
maybe she was buying tickets on behalf of Jeff Bezos, because he's been buying out seats. Yep. Apparently, the 7:15, it does have a lot of tickets sold. Far too many tickets sold. But this is suspicious. The entire front row of the 7:15 show of Melania at our local theater is sold out. Who sits in the front row intentionally, other than me?
You know what? Maybe maybe she just changed her seats.
I gotta wonder. There's no way anybody's showing up to watch that movie in the front row. This is suspicious right here. Deeply suspicious.
Maybe it's old guys trying to get a peek up her skirt because they think that's how movies work.
Oh my
Like, if
God,
you
the
wanna see up her skirt-
the 9:55 show is sold out.
You're kidding me.
It is completely sold out. There are no tickets available for Melania on Friday night at 9:55. It's
Okay,
completely sold.
as of like an hour and a half ago, that wasn't. That was
Wow. And again,
there was no tickets sold. Somebody has
4:35.
bought up the entire.
4:35 p.m. The entire front row is sold out. This is so suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
This is a setup.
This is one of.
The
I
entire
swear to God.
145. So the front row sold out at 145. No fucking way. There's no way.
I looked a couple hours ago at some of these, right? And
11:05 front row sold out.
wow, that somebody has. Wait, are you looking at Friday at 1:45?
I'm looking at Friday. I've looked at every screening on Friday.
Because I'm seeing. Hold on.
I'm looking at Friday, January 30th at 11:05 a.m. Most of the theater is sold out, and the entire front row is gone. But for every screening on Friday, we're talking 11:05
is completely empty.
1:45
in the front row.
I don't know. It's not in my front. No, what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, they're all green. I'm looking at the 11:05. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 seats sold. And all so the ones that are grayed out are the ones that are sold. The green ones, yeah, there's no, yeah, it's.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the gray ones on the seating chart are the ones that are sold. So yeah, the 145 show has a lot of things, but like in our area, that's to be expected. So, and as of a couple hours ago, the 435 show had not a single seat sold, and now it's more than half sold out. So I think people are just buying tickets because they're being told to on like Fox News or something.
Yeah.
So
they're desperate to try and make this look like a thing, even though it's not a thing.
Yeah, the 9:55 show, not a single seat is sold because those people are all in bed. Yeah, you scared the shit out of me for a minute. I was like, no way are they all sitting in the front row. But yeah, the green means that they're empty. Oh, yeah, we're not going to go see that trash.
No, fuck that shit. Speaking of fuck that shit, how about fuck that shit Mercy with Chris Pratt. It's a very exciting movie about a guy in a chair. No, I don't dislike screen movies. Like I thought the one that John showed you did Missing. I thought
Missing,
that was great.
Yeah. Searching.
That was great. That was terrific. I loved that. He did a great job, and he's just so winning that it's kind of it really was going to work because of him, regardless of the the nature of it being just on a computer. Unfriended, both those movies are terrible, unwatchable films, but it's not because of this. It's not because of the screen thing. It's because the acting is just terrible. The script is awful, and that's why it doesn't work. This is awful because everything about it is awful, from the performances to the politics of this thing, where Chris Pratt is a detective who is accused of killing his wife. He has been taken to what they call the Mercy Court, which is an AI court overseen by an AI judge, played by Rebecca Ferguson. And he happens to ironically have been one of the chief architects, one of the guys who really pushed for this court to happen, because that's the irony is so thick, I guess.
Oh my God.
He's accused of killing his wife. He says he didn't do it, but he also doesn't remember where he was because he's an alcoholic, and he got very, very drunk and fought with police and was drunk when he confronted his wife, which we can see on their doorbell camera. Because in this universe, every human being in Los Angeles has given up their personal privacy and autonomy to the government, so that the government can have this surveillance on everywhere. So any phone in the entire area is just linked to this government database that he can tap into at any time. And you keep sitting there waiting for the movie to go, well, this is a terrible thing, and this should not be anything that anyone ever does. And it never does that.
It
In
never
fact,
does that.
it seems to say this surveillance state is pretty great, actually. It's like Homeland Security made this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Hey, would you mind making us a movie where you justify our our surveillance programs?
Oh,
Yeah, sure, no
God.
problem. Here's your movie. This movie is awful. It's really just borderline unwatchable. Chris Pratt, I don't like automatically hate Chris Pratt. I'm a bit of I've always been a fan of his in terms of like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Marvel stuff, and even some of the stuff he did before that, Parks and Rec. He is one of those actors, though, I think, who mistakes drama, and when he wants to play a dramatic role, he mistakes being like completely uncharismatic for being dramatic, and it's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if I'm completely not funny and I just don't do anything interesting, that's dramatic acting, right? No.
Yeah.
No. No, that's not dramatic acting. That just sucks. That's not pleasant for us to watch. Oh, man. At least Rebecca Ferguson has the excuse that she's playing an AI judge, so she can't emote or have a personality.
But then she does towards the end, and I'm like, no, stop. This movie actually made me lose a little respect for her.
Really?
Because she did this movie. This movie is terrible.
It does answer a question, I think, though, because, a few months ago, she was talking about co-stars that she didn't get along with, and people were trying to get her to say who it was that she didn't get along with, and she said, well, there's this movie where I'm in where I don't share a scene with him, but she didn't say who it was, but I'm pretty sure that's this one because they're never in the same scene together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so obvious, like, from the very beginning, it is so obvious who the killer is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like, and yeah, I mean, the second twist comes as a complete out of the blue thing. It's like in the original Friday the 13th when Mrs. Voorhees shows up and she's never been on screen at all.
Uh-huh.
That's what it reminded me of. It's like, oh, this is completely this is just so that we have some, ooh, it's a twist. It's and his motivations were fine. And then they had to give it to the partner for no reason. I just was like, this is just bad all around. I sat there going, oh God, how close to the end can I walk out and get my money back? Past a certain point, they're like, you watched the whole movie. But yeah, oh God, it was such a slog. And I'm like about 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, I'm going to go get a refill and I'm going to go to the bathroom. I know that we've only got like 15 minutes left, but I already know who the killer is.
Uh-huh.
So
there's no surprises here. There's nothing, visually it's not very interesting because the way that they use their screens isn't very interesting. Chris Pratt's strapped in a chair. Rebecca Ferguson is AI. And I mean, Callie Reese is a wonderful actress, but she's not given anything well to work with. And, the same goes for the villain of the movie, if you will. And he's just kind of the assigned role of villain.
Yeah. If you've ever seen an episode of Law and Order, you know who the killer is.
Yeah. It's not subtle at all. There's zero subtlety to this. It is so embarrassing, though, to watch this. The best thing about the movie is that they have a clock, because this movie is set in supposed sort of real time. There's a clock in the corner counting down from 90 minutes.
You know how long you have to sit through?
Exactly. You can watch the clock and go, okay, it's almost over. He has 90 minutes to try and prove to lower his suspicion of guilt to 92%, which, by the way, in this universe, you are presumed guilty. That's how how this works. You're presumed guilty. You start off at 98% that you're guilty, and then you try to find evidence that'll take it down below 92% to provide just enough doubt that you did it or not. That's how
Because it is
this.
statistically impossible to be 100% certain that somebody killed somebody unless, like, I don't know, maybe they did it on camera in front of some. Yeah, it's come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the whole point is to just create these parameters that AI can live within and not look bad. And here's the thing, like, AI already looks bad going into this. They just completely miscalculated that. But here are your options on this. Either they intentionally tried to make AI in the surveillance state look like a good thing, or they were so incompetent that they made AI and the surveillance state look like a good thing. Not that I think it's a good thing. I think it's what they're doing. I think it's a terrible thing. That's why I hate the movie so much. But the other option is they were just a bunch of fucking cowards who know that they're not allowed to criticize AI in a movie that's put out by Amazon because Amazon's got a whole bunch of fucking AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't want to make the money people in Hollywood angry by criticizing AI. They're all fucking knee deep in that shit financially. So we can't say anything bad about AI. So it's just craven. So You're either incompetent, craven, or complicit. And none of those are good things to be.
Exactly. Yeah, this just, oh God, it was so hard to sit through this movie and not just get up and leave.
Meanwhile, in a theater like next door, you've got The Testament of Ann Lee, which is an actual movie going on. Like,
yeah,
here's a movie with intention and beauty and controversy that's, it's pressing boundaries and being bold and weird, made by a bold and strange director. Like, it's like it couldn't have come out on a more perfect weekend to be the counterpoint of Mercy, The Testament of Ann Lee, starring Amanda Seyfried in the role of a legendary Shaker, the founder of the Shaker religion, this very important religious sect that preached pacifism and celibacy. That was their big thing. She had a lot of sexual shame growing up. She had a very complicated relationship with her own husband, including 4 babies that did not live. And she comes to believe that this is God telling her that she's not supposed to be having sex. And so she takes that and makes that part of the religion. Celibacy. But at the same time, she has these like ecstatic moments where she's feeling such religious reverie that it almost mimics sexuality in a very different way, as if that is an orgasm for God.
Orgasm.
But Amanda Seyfried is incredible in this movie. She just does all the things right. Every choice she makes, every little mannerism, her face. She's so melted into this performance that it doesn't. You lose Amanda Seyfried. Her big eyes are there, but you lose her within the role of Ann Lee. She is so amazing. And then you've got Lewis Pullman. This guy can do anything. This guy is going to be an Oscar nominee one day for sure. The guy is so, like, when you can go from Thunderbolts to this, that is a turnaround that not many actors can pull, and he does such an incredible job. And Thomasin Mackenzie plays the one of the characters who's also the narrator of the piece. And
Christopher Abbott, my boyfriend, is her husband.
What an amazing, just group of people who are so committed to this story, and each of them providing different shades and layers to how the story is being told. Thomasin Mackenzie is very much biased in favor of Ann Lee, and so she's kind of providing this narrator that's changing sides throughout almost when she kind of starts to turn against Anne a little bit. It's fascinating to watch, and that's such a complicated thing to pull off. It's so amazing. And then, you mentioned Christopher Abbott, like, he's so amazing as her husband, as this man who is caught between, like, wanting to be, very pious, but also wanting to fuck constantly. and that those
Yeah.
two poles of his personality just make him electric to watch.
Yeah, I think he's like one of the better actors out there. So is Louis Pullman. Um, I that's what disappointed me about Wolfman last year because Christopher Abbott is so good. I mean, he was good in that, but it's like that movie didn't come together like this one does. And I think he's a really integral part to that. Why the performances work. Um, I mean, the direction on this and the period, the attention to detail too. I never ever thought that I was in a modern movie looking in.
Mhm.
Um,
Even with the
and
musical numbers,
yeah,
they
that
feel organic.
and that was surprising to me because I had no idea that was what was going to go on here. I didn't know that it was technically a musical because they sing their feelings,
Yeah, and
like
it's
a
based off of real Shaker hymns.
yeah. Um, the way that they're integrated, it's like a classic musical, and it just kind of blew me away. After I figured out what was going on, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Um, and just overall, like I sat there. People don't necessarily when I go to the movies, they don't sit through the credits,
Mhm.
but everybody was kind of glued to their seat afterwards and like kind of discussing amongst themselves. Because I went on a Friday afternoon and it was pretty packed. And I don't know if that's because people didn't have to go to work because of the weather or what, but it was, there were a lot of people there and they were talking about it afterwards. So,
Yeah, this is directed by Mona Fastvold, who is also married to Brady Corbett, who had The Brutalist just last year, and he helped work on the screenplay. And she's a visionary. She's going to be one of these directors we're talking about for a very long time. This is certainly not the last time. And I'm just remembering it now. It keeps getting better in my mind just thinking about it because I
mhm.
saw it a while back. But as it comes back to me, it just comes back to me in waves of how ingenious this movie is. And I just have every belief that maybe she should have been in this Academy Award conversation, and she wasn't, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, yeah.
Her and Amanda Seyfried, for that matter. Amanda Seyfried, did an actress have a better year than her
Ugh.
with this and The Housemaid? I mean, my God, she just crushed.
Yeah, I I kind of after this weekend with Sydney Sweeney climbing atop the Hollywood sign and putting bras on there. Um,
What?
I'm oh yeah, she launched a lingerie line and for
Oh,
publicity, she climbed the Hollywood sign and hung bras from it. Oh,
okay.
she just completely, constantly is fucking up her career. Stop it. I want to see Amanda Seyfried like be the housemaid. I want her to take over. But yeah, she's having such a good year, and I mean, two performances that are so completely different and both so pitch perfect. I, you know, how is she not won yet? I mean, much less
Right?
been nominated this year. So
It's
I
amazing.
think people
Just
still think of her
looking.
as like Mean Girls, that kind of, or Mamma Mia.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing too when you look back on Mean Girls because, like, that is such a complicated comic performance.
Uh
Do
huh.
you know how hard it is to be as intelligent as she clearly is, to have to then play a character that is not intelligent? Like, that is talent.
Yeah.
That is that is a performance and a half that she's giving there, and it's one of the funniest performances in a movie I think I've ever seen. When she touches her boobs to determine whether or not it's going to rain, it's one of
Yep.
the hardest I've ever laughed at a movie ever.
Oh, yeah. She's the one you're really rooting for in that movie. I don't.
That's amazing. And we got Rachel McAdams back this weekend in Send Help, which is a new performance for her in a way that I'm excited about, quite different than what she's done before. This is a great time for Mean Girls fans.
Yeah. And I'm sure Lacey Chabert will be in some Hallmark movies this fall.
She got 15 Christmas movies on Lifetime. She's fine. Uh, but you know the go see the Testament of Anne-Lee. I know it didn't get Oscar nominations that it deserved. It should have got them. It didn't, and it didn't do well nationwide. But it's still it's a must see kind of movie because it is just that good. Another movie that didn't get Oscar nominations that deserved them was No Other Choice, and this is just an incredible movie from Bong Joon-ho. This is a movie that is so subtle about commenting on worldwide economic issues that you barely realize it's happening until you get to the end and you realize what he's been saying all along is that billionaires are creating a universe in our economy worldwide that leaves people with no other choice but to do things that are beneath their moral dignity, that are that force them into positions that they shouldn't have to be in just to be able to feed their family. This is a story of a man who works in a very specific industry. It's a paper industry, and he makes a specific kind of paper, and every company in Japan makes a specific kind of paper, and he gets fired because an American company had come in and bought the company, and they're going to automate everything and make it worse because that's what they do. It doesn't need to be a quality product. It just needs to be a product, which is some fucking bullshit. So they fire all the skilled people and go to automation, and he's got to find more work. And this has been his entire life's work for his entire life. So he's kind of trying to stay in his industry, but in order to stay in his industry, he needs to go to the one last place that seems to be actually hiring people, even though they're going to start letting people go soon enough. And he ends up doing things that are not, legal in order to get to pull this off and to feed his family. And it's like you can't help but feel for this guy and understand what it is that he's doing. On top of which, he's created this series of completely wonderfully bizarre scenarios that he finds himself in where he's setting up to go maybe kill somebody in order to get them out of his way as the top front runner for this job. And the weird, just absurd things that keep happening and getting in the way are just so suspenseful and darkly humorous at the same time. And few directors are capable of pulling off this kind of movie.
Yeah, this was so darkly funny that at times I was like, am I just laughing at like really dark shit? Because it doesn't always play as a comedy, but there are some deeply, deeply comedic scenes in it. And the whole when he goes to the older guy's house and he's a drunk basically, and the wife I laughed so hard, and that's when I was like, "Oh, this is 100% like a broad, dark comedy." So
it's a Park Chan-wook, by the way. I'm embarrassing myself by saying Bong Joon-ho, and I apologize.
Oh, how dare you?
I've got a cold. Okay, it's clouding. It's clouding my brain.
But yeah, the performances in this are kind of what kind of draws you in because it's in Korean and with English subtitles. I had a hard time actually the first time I started watching it keep up because I'm having eye surgery in a couple weeks and the contrast wasn't there for me. But I did, like watch it on a different TV, and then I was able to get some of the one-liners that they come up with that really kind of solidified my love for it. So,
yeah, it's incredibly smart. Lee Byung-hun, again, is another actor who deserved Oscar attention and didn't get it. I would remove Chalamet or DiCaprio for him. So we could remove Chalamet and DiCaprio and put in Jesse Plemons and Lee Byung-hun. I'd be perfectly fine. And you can remove a lot of the Best Picture nominees in favor of No Other Choice because that movie is incredible.
Agreed.
It's so subtle about it though. That's the thing, is like it's bleak, it's dark, it's weird at times, it's absurd, but in the end he never says anything about the global economy. He never says anything about billionaires intentionally. It's all just the undercurrent is this blood-sucking, money-sucking evil that is running various, industries that used to employ people and give people good jobs that paid them well enough to take care of their families. And everything we seem to lose in these conversations about automation and artificial intelligence is the fact that around the world, we're failing to create jobs where people can raise a family. But then you have conservatives saying, why aren't you having more children? Because your billionaire friends are fucking up the entire economy to the point where I can't afford to raise them. Numbnuts.
Yep.
If you keep automating everything, and I've been saying this for years, because like this goes back to like the automatic checkout at the grocery store. Like, I know it's not a skilled position, but at the same time, it was somebody's position that allowed them to make money and live. And so when they automated that, I'm like, this is not a good thing. This is not a thing where, and the radio industry is a great example where they went to, automated things and playing music from a computer and then replacing the people who worked there. Like, you used to be able to, in my industry, make up to anywhere from $45,000 to $50,000, $60,000 for doing a show that aired from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you did that because you were popular and, advertisers were willing to pay to be part of a popular show. And when Wall Street fuckheads got into the business, they crushed that immediately because they saw that the one thing that was keeping them from billions of dollars in profits was people. And so they just killed off the people part and made it a machine. And now it's just a money thing. It just makes them a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They can trade the stock around and make it look like that makes them money. It's so frustrating because when they were doing it initially in the 90s, sorry to get off on this tangent, but it's kind of relevant to this movie. The company I worked for at the time was printing money. It was so wildly successful. It had so much money. They got taken over then by what was then Clear Channel, was now another company, whatever they're called now, iHeartRadio. They get taken over by money guys who immediately came in, cut out all the people, stopped making money, began losing money. In fact, they took a company that was the most successful and made it the least successful, and then they just traded it around the stock market for the last 25 years, and it kind of looks like a successful company, kind of.
Yeah.
That is not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Venture capitalism, which is what, killed radio, and if you say, oh, I wish I could go to Toys R Us, blame that. I wish I could go to KB Toys, blame Bain Capital. It's all about, vulture capitalism, and they're coming in and, picking the bones off of a struggling company. And here we are, the general tenet of this movie is that people are bad and money is good. So,
I blame? You know who I blame for this? Richard Gere. It's Richard Gere's fault. Look back at Pretty Woman. Look at the character he played in Pretty Woman. What was his job? He was the first of these glamorous rich guy venture capitalists with their cool cars and suits and prostitutes they could pay $1,000 a day
and sex workers. Yeah.
Sorry. And it's his fault. They made it glamorous because Gary Marshall sucks. And I know that at the end he we'll make ships and stuff. Whatever.
Yeah.
By the end it was too late.
Yeah, I get so demoralized about everything that's going on in the world today, and the fact that we had this Doge thing that didn't actually save us any money.
Yeah, nothing. Didn't do anything
It
other than
actually
shut
cost
down.
us money
Yeah,
and shut down a
and
lot of aid to a lot of horribly poor countries around the world.
not to mention shutting down every investigation into Elon Musk that was happening.
Well, this is true too. Yeah. But, you know, we're just
It,
snowflakes.
it has to be. It has to be hard for you because, like, there was a time in this country when you could make a living as an artist.
Yeah.
Like, that was a living you could make if you were, if you found the right people and the right places to display. People would buy your stuff, and you could make a genuine living. And now, the way that the way they've compromised that economy is just it's so disgusting. What they've done
Well,
to just remove things that used to be jobs that people had that could help them live. And that used to be the goal was like, you have to create jobs where people can raise their family. That's the only way the economy goes. But we've ceded so much of the economy to these fucking grifter assholes who have no morals and zero care for other human beings. They just want money. They just want the power to say that they're in charge. And we've literally turned everything over to them. That's literally who Trump has always been his entire life, is that guy.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Well, and the fact that we're having or even having this conversation, it's like somebody said, I this is years ago. I read this that you know what, billionaires shouldn't exist. You make $999.999 million, and congratulations. Here is a plaque. You win capitalism. It's like playing Monopoly. You win. You are a winner, and everything from here on out, you don't need. And there is the argument that says, well, these people earned it. Nobody earns $1 billion.
Bullshit. Yeah, that's total crap. There isn't a single billionaire that didn't have a seed from daddy that got them started. Not a one.
And they do shit like in this movie. They come in and they strip a company that is, doing a service or doing something, that of value, and they take away all its value. And that's the problem. They want to make money, so they're going to spend a little money to make money, and then that revenue stream dries up, so they sell it off and go kill something else. So
that's how you end up where you have a situation where, like, the CEO of Toys R Us was also the CEO of a car company. It's like, those are two different fucking industries. Those are not the same thing. Or like a financier becomes a CEO, and it's like, again, you don't have the skill set for this. Like, they're going to pay you, multiple millions of dollars, like, because they think money equals success. Oh God, it's so frustrating because it's so obvious. If there's no one left to buy your products, you won't have any money. So if you keep taking money from the bottom and moving it to the top, none of us at the bottom will be able to buy the products that you make to make your money, dipshit.
Yeah. And I remember learning in school about how monopolies were crushed because they are so bad for the economy and so bad for the people. And that lesson did not get passed down to my contemporaries.
Truly.
Because
Silicon Valley should never have happened. Should have never happened. None of that should have ever come about. That industry should have been broken up 25 years ago into smaller competing companies to make sure that the internet remained fully democratized. Shouldn't exist. None of this shit. Elon Musk should not exist as he is now.
Well,
we elect our politicians. Every single one of them right now seems to be bought and paid for by these billionaires, and that's why they're constantly. They sat on their hands while someone was murdered over the weekend, while a human being was just murdered by the government, and they just sat in their fucking hands. I mean, it's deplorable. This whole system is deplorable.
Agreed.
And Park Chan-wook is a fucking genius.
Because he says so without saying the words. He doesn't have to say the words. The subtlety at the end where, he's working by himself in this giant AI powered thing, and you can see it in his eyes when they're like, well, there are going to be no workers. You're going to be the only person there. And just see the death in his eyes that like happens because he really respects the worker. And, he talks about, forming a union earlier in the movie, and we've got to come together. And by then it's too late because they've already decided that everybody's losing their jobs and they're going to, sell off the company. But he doesn't know that. And he tries to tell them, and they just walk right past him and throw their stuff at him. And, that is what it's like to be a worker in a corporation now.
Yeah. And here he is, giving away what's left of his soul to get to this position. And it's this completely empty victory at the end where he has to just watch as AI makes a product far lesser of the quality than it should be made. And the company makes money and he is basically a janitor.
Yep, exactly that. But, he's gotta have all this money for his family. Can't give up.
Honestly, it makes me wonder if there was like a revolt against this movie, like Bezos and just said, no, you cannot honor that movie. No, that doesn't get any Oscar nominations. No one's allowed to see this movie.
You wouldn't be too far off base as far as I'm concerned, because this is a Billie Eilish of movies. Do better, billionaires.
So
yeah,
well,
really
let's try and take our mind off this with our classic, which is set in Minnesota. Fuck.
Well, it's funny because when we were talking, you texted me and you were like, what's our classic going to be? Because I thought we were going to do Return to Silent Hill, and that was going to be our classic. But then Minnesota happened, and I was the one who said, you know what, can we just do something just lighthearted and fun, like Romeo and Michelle or Drop Dead Gorgeous? And you're like, Drop Dead Gorgeous. And as I put it on, I'm like, this was the day that the gentleman was murdered in Minnesota and by ICE agents. And I turned it on. I was like, Mount Rose, Minnesota. And I was like, oh, fuck. But this was a much better Minnesota thing than what happened there in the last 2 weeks. So
absolutely. Take us through Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Drop Dead Gorgeous tells the tale of the Sarah Rose Cosmetics pageant. And it's the mockumentary before The Office. I just want to tell you, like, several years before The Office, the mockumentary about the beauty pageant. And we meet all the contestants and we see them developing their talents. And one by one, they start to die or be maimed or attempted murder. Their friends get murdered, and it's all so that one girl can win. This stars Kirsten Dunst and Denise Richards as the two main competitors in the Miss Mount Rose part of the competition. And we see that Becky, who's played by Denise Richards, and her mom Gladys, played by Kirsty Alley, will literally do anything to win this thing. Kirsty Alley was a former winner, and she is the organizer of the competition. And Amber Atkins is, they describe her as trailer trash in the movie because her and her mom live in a trailer, and her dad was a carny who deserted them. It also stars Allison Janney as Loretta, who steals literally every scene that she's in the movie. And then you get Amy Adams as one of the contestants in one of her first roles. You get it's just, and last week when we talked about Seven, and I did not plan this, by the way, and Kevin Spacey's character's named John Doe in Seven, and I said, we were going to replace him with Nicolas Cage, but that might be too much. And I just said, how about the character John Doe from Drop Dead Gorgeous? And everybody kind of looked at me like, what? And then we meet John Doe, who was one of the judges. And Yeah, and hilarity ensues. This is literally probably my favorite comedy. It's one that I can watch in the background all the time. I had a roommate, a really good friend of mine when I lived in New York City, who would we would just watch this and we would do the lines from it. Incidentally, my Loretta sticker on my Etsy from this movie is my number one bestseller of all time, and it's also a big seller on my TeePublic.
Very
Um,
cool.
all my Drop Dead Gorgeous ones are big sellers, which just shows you that like this movie is so beloved, but it doesn't. It's not, it's not like a Bill and Ted or anything huge like that. So, um, yeah, just one of my all-time favorites. I have a one sheet poster that I got recently at a convention. Um, just
Yeah,
so much fun.
I've always liked this movie. I've always appreciated this movie, but I liked it even more this time because I'd completely forgotten about one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie, which is Denise Richards' talent performance of Close to You, dancing with a dummy Jesus on a crucifix. Like,
The
that is
rumors are true.
peak comedy.
Oh, she's so untalented in this movie, her character, and she's supposed to be the winner of the of the talent competition and everything. And it's just like, oh my god, she's just so terrible. And Denise Richards she doesn't have a ton of range, I don't think,
Mhm.
but she's so good in this because she knows exactly who she is. And when she does she's shooting her gun and she's like, Jesus loves winners. And yeah, it's just, yeah. And,
And my other favorite thing to rediscover was Ellen Barkin's beer can hand.
oh yeah, I have that as a
There was
sticker
an
too.
explosion at their trailer, and a beer can gets fused to her hand, and then you watch later as she just keeps drinking from it.
Yeah. One of the best lines ever in this movie is, I am reaching a point where I would literally kill somebody for the nicotine under their fingernails. Yeah. So yeah, and like little character bits. Tess, who is God, I can't remember who plays her, but she's a character actor now. She's been in a bunch of stuff since then. Alexandra Holden is in it, um, playing Mary Johansson. Brittany Murphy, the late great Brittany Murphy.
Mm.
Um, Shannon Nelson plays Tess Winehouse, who is obsessed with her dog. And one of the other better lines is she lifts up her shirt because she got attacked by her German Shepherd. And had to go live on a farm, and I must have had some beef jerky in my pocket. And then she lifts up her shirt. She goes, "They remade my belly with skin from my butt." Um, and Lisa Swenson, played by Brittany Murphy, who just I miss her so much, especially when I watch this. That she's talking about her brother who moved to the Twin Cities, and he's basically a drag queen, and she doesn't get it until the very end of the movie, and then she like tells her dad, "You know what, Peter? Or you know what, Dad? Peter's gay." Gay. He just and it's just so funny. Yeah, but Allison Janney steals the movie with probably one of the best lines in any movie, any comedy. She's like, "Oh, best tapper, most smartest." And yeah, I adore this movie. It's kind of one of my comfort movies. So
Yeah, I gotta say, like, excuse me, Miss Penthouse 98, put your knees together. I could drive a boat show in there.
boat shows for that. Oh, and Will Sasso. I mean, it's not politically correct. He plays Hank Vilmus, who is the R word. They keep calling him the R word through the movie, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
there's one scene where I would like the big bag of little donuts. And my friend Pat and I, who live together in New York City, we just like that would be one of our things. We just walk around. I would like the big bag of little donuts. I was like, I'm going to go to the store. What do you? I would like the big bag of little donuts. Yeah, and And
That's one of my favorite things about movies is the way a movie can become part of your DNA.
oh
It's
yeah.
I'm that way with Big Lebowski lines with my sister. Like we can just pass those back and forth.
Hmm.
Like just the other day, she went to the gas station to get a Coke, and she's like, "You want to Diet Coke?" And I'm like, "Does Pope shit in the woods?" Oh yeah, just that's the kind of things that movies can do is become not only just important or entertaining, but they become part of you.
Oh yeah. A few years ago, a friend of mine lost like 100 pounds, and somebody was saying something. I'm like, she's skinny, Amber, not death. And that's what it just pops out of me, like uh when I see some guy and I'm like, I'm like kind of flirting if I can do that. I'm like, oh, you're cute. Oh, yeah, you're real cute. Just like Alice and Janney. Just oh god. I know who the winner is. I know who the winner is. That's what I say during award shows. It's another Will Sasso line.
Yeah, there's just so many things about this movie that make it rather brilliant. I I like it a lot. I love it. I love it in many ways. It kind of gets to a point of being a little too much for me, but I where I kind of hold back from loving it as much as you do. But it's part of you. Like this movie is part of
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously gay, but I will still sometimes say, like, if I'm at my sister's house and her daughters are having friends over, I said, "Oh, yeah, let's see the young girls." And she knows what I'm saying, but my my niece at one point goes, "What? Ew!" So I showed her this movie. She was like, "Oh, that's where you got that weird shit." I'm like, "Yep." Or I'll just randomly say Emperor Hirohito. Oh, and everybody gets their
That
moment to shine in this movie. Everybody.
and and Kirsten Dunst ends up getting underrated because she's not as big as everybody else or as broad as
Yeah.
everybody else, but she has this wonderful combination of naivete and optimism that comes out in various little different pieces of dialogue, and it would be very easy to make that character, cynical and above it all, and
Mhm.
they resist that. She's part of this too. She's part of this universe. She doesn't feel like a character who's outside of this universe looking in,
Yeah.
and that is a bold choice. It's the harder choice that they made there, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, the optimism, like, she feels it almost all the way through, and then, like, at the end, it's crushing when they get to the nationals and find out that the Sarah Rose Cosmetic Company is no longer there. Um, but then, her happy ending is, I think, well
Yeah.
earned because she talks about how she wants to
Mhm.
be Diane Sawyer, and then she gets to be Diane Sawyer. Um, yeah, just I just like everybody gets their moment in this movie, and there are a couple things that kind of like Gladys escaping from prison after she murders her daughter by accident. Um, you know that part I was like, all right, I get it. I mean, you had to get Amber a reason to become, the reporter on the street, but still, yeah, that was a little over the top for me. I thought it could have been something else and it would have been fine, but you get, God, I could literally talk about this movie for a good 2 hours. Um, I won't, but I could. Mindy Sterling, who tapes over the Adam West introduction tape with Days of Our Lives. So that kind of sets the tone for the movie when they're watching Adam West, and he's basically doing a generic thing, and they he's standing there and you can't see his lips move, and they intone, they like insert the name of whatever city it is you're watching in Minnesota, and it's beautiful Mount Rose, Minnesota. It's just, oh god, it's so funny.
Yeah, and he's an underrated comic genius, genuinely speaking.
Yeah.
Few actors are so aware of who they are and are so comfortable with who they are
Mhm.
as a big old ham.
Yeah.
It
I heard
just
she
plays
slept with
perfectly
Adam West.
every time he's on screen. All right,
Lona
let's wrap.
Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, so say Lona Williams, who wrote the movie, also plays one of the judges, and she was actually the I think Miss. She was a runner up for a beauty pageant, and that's where this all came from. So
Hmm. Let's wrap it up. We'll mention what's coming up next week. We're going to be talking about The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, which are both going out wide to capitalize on Oscar nominations for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, and Supporting Actress. So we'll talk about those two movies next week. Send Help with Rachel McAdams will hopefully be the #1 movie in America this weekend, unless Melania picks up more stolen tickets. And we may or may not get to Iron Lung. So I think it's a horror
uh,
film. Not sure exactly what that is. And Shelter with Jason Statham is out. I also had somebody email me and ask if we're going to talk about the Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa movie on Amazon.
oh,
Starts tomorrow. I can if we want to, I guess, but it does start tomorrow if you're interested. It's called The Wrecking Crew.
oh, okay, yeah, I think I saw maybe a commercial for that. So
And of course, Jeff, you'll have a classic for us.
yes, of course I will. It's going to be Melania. I'm just kidding. We'll do Pretty Woman or some other movie about a
Oh,
sex
fuck.
worker.
God damn it.
I'm kidding. We're not going to do Pretty Woman. I hate that movie.
Good. Yes, everyone should.
We'll do like Vice Squad or something. I don't know.
Everyone
Uh,
except my mother, who thought that movie
uh,
was brilliant. I love your
I
mom, but
remember.
good fucking God.
Oh, I just love that movie. Oh, it's just so sweet. And I just looked at her like, 'cause she was telling my mom about it, and she's like, "Have you seen that?" I'm like, "Yeah." What'd you think? Oh, wasn't it so sweet? No, Aunt Sue, it was just, oh yeah, it was great. It was great. I loved it.
It's it's a wealth fantasy porn
Mhm.
made by the most inept director to have ever walked the earth.
Wow. I think Brett Ratner is out there.
Yes, Melania is going to suck, but it's going to make sense. Try sitting through that Rosie O'Donnell, Dan Aykroyd movie Gary Marshall made and tell me that's just not like disease in movie form.
It's called Exit to Eden. Oh,
All right, Jeff, next week.
have fun.